Alright, peace y'all, peace. In this video, we're going to be talking about child star actors that went from good to rebels. What actually happens in Hollywood that makes these children turn into the way they do? There are many listed that actually went from good to hood. The first is DJ Daniels. DJ Daniels appeared in many TV shows as well as a few movies. One that we all know to be popular would be the Hughleys. DJ Daniels grew up in the Rancho Cucamonga section of California. He got his first shot featured in a Honey Nut Cheerio commercial at the age of 5. DJ would then go on to be the cast member in shows such as In the House and the Hughleys. After his supporting role in 2005's Disney Sky High, his acting career began to decline. In 2011, he was accused of being an accomplice to a murder which left a man by the name of J.J. Lewis dead. After being typecasted in Hollywood, he began to tattoo his face to break away from being labeled as the Hollywood Kid. Now, as far as his hip-hop career, he makes a bunch of music basically worshiping the devil.
Break lights. I'ma go to hell real fast cause I hate heights. Just because I rap about the devil, that don't mean I hate Christ.
Amanda Bynes. Amanda Bynes was Nickelodeon's childhood star that showcased a playful and innocent role, but that didn't turn out as we expected. She starred in many TV shows as well as movies. Amanda Bynes grew up in the Thousand Oaks area of California. She started acting at the age of 7 and got her first shot in a play called Annie, the Secret Garden. In 1996, at the age of 10, she was invited to attend the Laugh Factory's comedy camp that was conducted by Dan Snyder, who was accused of doing some inappropriate things with children that I won't go into. That same year, she was added to the cast of Nickelodeon's All That, along with Nick Cannon and Kenan and Kel. Amanda Bynes went on to star in loads of Hollywood movies as well as having her own television show. By 2010, she was fed up with Hollywood and dropped out of the movie Hall Pass, and then now she would be taking an indefinite hiatus from acting. What did she see or experience that drove her to leave Hollywood at this time? Just a few years later, she would be arrested for numerous charges like driving under the influence and throwing a bong out of a 34-story building in New York. Amanda asked for emancipation after a series of tweets were sent by her claiming that her father emotionally and sexually abused her, where she claimed her father fondled himself in front of her and she had a chip in her brain. Shortly after, she was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and thrown in a psych ward. Dustin Diamond. Y'all remember Screech from Saved by the Bell, right? Dustin grew up in the San Jose, California area. He got his first start by auditioning for the television show Good Morning Miss Bliss, which turned into a spin-off of Saved by the Bell. During his 13 years on the set of Saved by the Bell, he actually was labeled as the outcast by his fellow cast members. In 2009, Dustin wrote a tell-all book called Behind the Bell, exposing all the unflattering backstage behavior with his cast members. After this book was released, he was shunned and alienated by NBC as well as his cast members for exposing the truth. Dustin would soon then meet with legal troubles, where in 2014 he was arrested for carrying a switchblade that was used to stab someone during a bar fight. This makes me think of Lark Voorhees. The last movie that she played in was How High. Was her blunt laced to make her act this way? Well, that's all for right now. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and like, comment, share, and subscribe. Peace.
And this morning has to do with sexual assault allegations this time.
Right.
Well, not even this time. Again, another Hollywood producer.
Right.
Goddard, the last name, is it Gary? Gary Goddard. 1987, he produced Lost Boys. And now, 40 years later, these 8 former child actors are coming out and saying together, we were sexually assaulted by Goddard.
Right.
And so what was so interesting to me in all of this is that these kids, these former child actors, were part of a Santa Barbara theater company.
Okay.
Included Corey Feldman.
And the Lost Boys, talk about the cast of Lost Boys and how Corey's in that. Wow.
All right, so the Lost Boys were made up of two casts. Some were older teenagers, some
Pardon
were
me.
younger teenagers, and most of these seem to be the younger teenagers, like Corey Haim, Corey Feldman. Corey Feldman is still with us. Corey Haim's no longer with us.
Okay.
And there was a big case recently in Santa Barbara where years ago, Corey Feldman came out and said that he had been molested.
Okay.
However, this other case wasn't opened up because it was deemed not to be relevant to the other case.
Correct.
Oh,
yes.
Megan has
Corey-
more nuggets on that.
Well, and Corey Feldman, I'm really passionate about this
Yeah.
because for so many years, even though I wasn't a child when Corey Feldman was a child, but for so many years as an adult now, who's now in a music group, I had a chance to interview him during my Vegas days.
Right.
And he's always, and people will say, gosh, Corey Feldman, there's just something like off about him. Like he's what's
unusual.
going on? He's unusual. And in most of the conversations you have about Corey Feldman, it always comes back to, he could do all these things, but what it always comes back to is he's held within these stories of being abused as a kid, but he's never come forward with who it is that abused him. Well, back in Santa Barbara, when he was in that interview, and this was during the whole Michael Jackson case, from my understanding, he was like, no, nothing, there was no accusations against Michael Jackson, but I did have this experience, and he was a kid at the time. I did have this experience with X person.
Right. Well, that person that was sealed, the document sealed, and deemed
Right.
not to be relevant to the Michael Jackson case.
And they said, okay, well, this has nothing to do with the Michael Jackson case, and kind of, I guess, lost it. That's the weird part, is for all of these years, up until about 3 weeks ago, these files have been lost. And Corey
Right.
Feldman's been saying, I came forward to the police, but they never
That's
did anything
wild.
about it. So now we're waiting, but the police officer, or the police and the officials in Santa Barbara came forward and said, we have the files, but we can't release any of the information because he was a child at the time of his accusation or his allegations.
Now we're connecting some dots. We're assuming that maybe Goddard is the person that would be contained in those documents.
And this is us just we're
Possible.
being open
Allegedly.
and upfront with you guys
Yes.
about how conversations happen here in the newsroom. We go, oh wait, so he, yeah.
But we do know Anthony Edwards is one of the people.
Anthony
that said-
Edwards has come forward. So just another interesting case. We wanted you guys to be very aware of it, but who knows? I saw one of you saying, oh, so Corey Feldman was right all of these years. We don't know yet
No, we
if this